your easy seat if this is your comfy place. Remember, you can pop a cushion under your bum if you need to. Otherwise, you just sit relaxed. I was looking at paperwork today, some my yoga stuff, because I'm doing my 500 teachers coming up, and so I've been revising a whole lot of stuff, and it was reminding me of all the different seated positions you can take if you struggle with getting into lotus, half lotus, easy seat, this one which is like free seat where your feet are in front of each other, easy seat, you're still on your ankles, giving yourself a bit of space. You can then have your leg out to the side if this is more comfy. Remember to keep on tucking the hips under and lifting in the belly. You can always come up onto your knees if that's more comfortable, but the main point is to make sure that your body is as comfortable as possible so that your focus and your awareness can be on our breathing, or when we meditate, on meditation, and your body isn't disturbing you or distracting you with any pain or discomfort. So just make sure you are comfy. Today we're going to go into our Nadi Sodhana, which is our alternate nostril breathing. I'm wanting to do a class that's focused on sort of yin and yang, bringing that balance again. So a little bit of like hard work, and then a little bit of softness and long holding. And that's going to pull into our breath work, which with the Nadi Sodhana, the whole point is to bring balance to the different nadis, so the masculine and the feminine, which I got wrong. This is feminine, this is masculine, but you get the idea. So you can take your pointy finger and middle finger and place it on your forehead. We'll use our thumb to block the one nostril, and your ring finger or your pinky finger, but ring finger works better, to block the other nostril. And we'll start off blocking left, inhaling through right. I'm mixed up. We're blocking right, inhaling through left. Then you block and you hold, and then you'll exhale through the left and the right nostril. Sorry. Then you inhale through the right nostril, hold, exhale through the left. So today's count, I'd like to go 6, 12, 12. So you inhale for 6, hold for 12, exhale for 12. If you find that challenging, try 5, 10, 10. If you find that challenging, you try 4, 8, 8. But you can hear you're doing a certain figure to inhale, and then you're doubling up for your hold and your exhale. So just do the best you can. So I'll start us off on the count, and then you just carry on at your own pace, your own counting rhythm, happily and merrily. Okay, so let's block our right nostril. Inhale through the left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Block your left nostril, inhale through the right, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exhale through the left nostril, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Inhale through the left and continue at your own pace. Do one last round, making sure that your last exhale is through your left nostril. And just allow your breathing to return to normal. In and out through the nose, getting back into its natural rhythm. Trying to keep that awareness that that breath has brought into your body, or rather the awareness has come into your body with the breath work. So now we want to keep that awareness in the body as we go into our practice today. So we're going to start off with a vinyasa. So I'm going to go through it once or twice each leg, slowly, for us to just feel it, to catch on what we're up to and whatnot. And then we'll go through it 2 or 3 times, or rather the total will be 3 times, a little bit faster. So before we jump into our vinyasa, we're just going to warm up our wrists for anyone who struggles a little bit with the downward facing dog and our planking, etc. So just roll your wrists or your hands in circles, just getting a little bit of movement into the wrists. And out in the opposite direction. Then we're going to flick stars. Then we're going to pull our hand backwards towards our elbows, trying to open up the wrist sort of area over here. Back. Then turn your palm facing outwards and pull across your knuckles, trying to keep your fingers straight, pulling your hand back again towards your elbow. Let's go to the other hand. First, we pull the hand with the palm facing the elbow and pulling that hand towards the elbow, getting into the wrist joints. Then turn your palm out, grab across your knuckles, trying to keep your hands straight, pulling your fingers back towards your elbow again. Place your hands in front of you. We're still in our easy seat, and we're just going to try and push up onto the wrists and back down. Push up onto the wrists and back down. Make sure you're keeping these underarms lifted as you get up and over. So if you see, as I'm going, I'm allowing my elbows to bend a bit so that I can come up and over, and then I push down, lifting under the armpits, feeling across my shoulder blades broadening as I push down. And release. One more time. And back down. So now the wrists are a little bit more awake and ready for action. Okay, so we're going to start off standing at the front of our mat. Make sure you're rooting nicely down in your feet. So you're making sure the knuckles of the feet, the sides of the feet and the heels are nicely planted into the floor. Arches are lifting gently and you're feeling like your feet are trying to pull away, but they're not actually pulling away. It's just trying to create that arch lift that we want to feel. Then the knees turn slightly outwards so that we're activating the bum muscles, pushing the hips forward, lifting in the belly. Arms are nicely rotated into their sockets. And we take a deep breath in as we take our hands up towards the ceiling. Pulling long, 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 long. Exhale as you swan dive down into your forward fold, lifting in the belly. Inhale as you come back up into a tabletop position. Exhale, bending your knees and placing your hands on the floor. We'll send our right leg back into a lunge. Hold it here for a moment, making sure that you're squeezing your right bum cheek to keep your hip nicely aligned. Then you push down in both your arms, lifting in the armpits. Take your left leg back into your plank. Then we're going to lift up into downward facing dog. You can take a small step in if you need to. We're going to take our right knee in towards our chest, leaning forward. Then lean back, sending it straight back behind you. Bend at the knee and then twist towards the right, opening the hips up towards the right. Flex your foot, pushing down in the arms, and then bring that leg back through and under your left leg, placing it on the floor as you keep twisting towards the left. Push the hips up into your wild thing. Swing your arm around, come back into your downward facing dog, lifting your right leg back up towards the ceiling. Come forward, keeping that leg up, down into chaturanga, and before you hit the floor, come back up and then drop the leg up. So we're in our upward facing dog as opposed to our cobra. Keep the knees and the legs off the floor. Squeeze your bum. Pull that sternum forward. Then feel your coccyx being pulled up back into your downward facing dog. Take your left leg back into your lunge position as we started and drop the right knee to the floor. Let your foot go into the floor and push forward with your back bum cheek, trying to push your hip flexor closer to the floor. Keep your belly lifted. Tuck your right toe, lift back into that lunge, and then bring your right foot to join your left foot at the front of your mat. Allow yourself to hang in forward fold. And slowly come back up, taking your arms up towards the ceiling. And then hands down into prayer position. So that was one side. Now we do the other side. So we take our hands up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, you come into your swan dive. Then you come up to your tabletop, keep your belly lifted, and then drop, placing your hands on the floor, bending your knees. Left leg now goes back into your lunge position. Hold it for a moment, make sure you're squeezing your left bum cheek to support your hips. Push down in your hands, creating space for you to lift your right knee back, and then up into your downward facing dog. Left leg now goes up towards the ceiling, bends at the knee, and your hips twist towards the left. Push down in your arms. Then bring that left leg through under your right leg, place it on the floor, and go up into your wild things. Swing your arm around, take yourself back into your downward facing dog, lift your left leg up into the sky, come forward into your plank position, keep that left leg up, Come down, chaturanga, and before you hit the floor, come back up, placing your foot back on the floor, so you're now in your upward facing dog. Lift by the coccyx into your downward facing dog, and bring your right leg back into your lunge position, dropping the left knee onto the floor, and then placing your foot on the floor as well. Squeeze the left bum cheek, trying to push the hip flexor more towards the floor, lifting in your belly. Tuck the back toe, lift up into lunge, and bring your left foot back to meet your right, and hang in your forward fold. Come back up to standing, hands being pulled up towards the ceiling, and hands in your prayer position. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're still going to do that about twice more throughout the class, so not straight away. Okay, so we're going to come back down towards the floor. We're getting into our toes and stretching out our toes and our calves. So we're sort of perching on the balls of our feet. Is that the right? Knuckles, not the heels. Yeah, balls of our feet. And you're pushing your toes into the ground as you keep bringing your heels up, 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 so you're getting right over onto your toes. And then we're going to try and take our heels all the way down to the floor. You just go as far as you can so that you can feel a calf stretch happening without dropping backwards. Come back up onto your toes. Keep your belly lifted. And gently allow the heels to go towards the floor, getting into that calf stretch again. Lift up onto your toes. Keep bringing your awareness back to your breathing. And drop the heels towards the floor, getting into that calf stretch again. Try and go a little bit deeper so you're pulling your heels down towards the floor without letting yourself drop backwards. Now you can allow yourself to drop back onto your bum and roll onto your back. Now we want to get into our core muscle work. Once you've got the core working nicely, all the rest of the asana will feel quite easy. So we're getting into the strength work. So you want to make sure that you're tucking your hips under, pulling your belly, like there's a little string down towards the floor, so that your whole spine is being pulled onto the floor, so there's no gap on the floor when you're lying down. So it's a tucking of the hips under, pulling the belly down. You want to feel that the top part of your belly, sort of in between where your rib cage is, and the lower part of your belly, just above your forksy and gentleman bonnet, are activating. So you want to feel them go from relaxed to strong, even if it's just slight. That's what you're aiming for here. And we're going to take our feet up. We're trying to aim for a 90 degree. It's okay if you don't get it. It's hard gauging when you don't have a mirror to look at. And we're keeping that tummy feeling, but we're imagining that we're pushing against a wall, so it's almost making our lower back go even more into the ground. So you're relaxed and then push away. So this tummy is really working. Relax and push away. Relax and push away. And now we're slowly going to start riding a bike. So I say slowly because if you go too quickly, you're going to lose these tummy muscles. So keep pulling the tummy down, keep activating the belly, and then straighten out your left leg. Slowly swap and straighten out your right, keeping the belly strong. Swap, 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 swap. Bring your knees into your chest and just hold your knees in position. Keep that belly tucking under and sucking backwards. We're bringing our feet up into the air to get into our happy baby pose. Just pulling the feet down, trying to get them past your armpits. Keep the belly sucking. And now we're going to keep a hold of the right leg. Grab the left leg, or rather the left big toe, with your pointy and middle finger. And you want to be pulling the spine back and pulling down on your right leg to try and help you stabilize as you straighten the other leg out to the side. It's not in line with the floor, it's just at about maybe a 30-degree angle out. And play with it. Play and see how far you can go before you start flopping over to the side. And gently pull back in. And now you're going to grab your left leg, pulling it down, grabbing your right big toe with your pointy and middle finger. And again, you keep the belly lifted, tucking the hips under, and you send that leg out at about a 30-degree to start off with. If you need to start closer, it's not the end of the world. You just do you. And try and slowly let it out, trying to keep your balance here. Bring that leg back in and take your legs back into your 90-degree. Remember, you're pushing against the wall, you're pulling your belly down towards the floor so that your whole lower back is flat against the floor. Push. And then cycle. Left leg straightens. Slowly swap over to the right. Start dropping the leg lower and lower, making sure that you keep the belly active. So it's no good if you can drop your leg low but your tummy stops working or you go into an arch. The aim is to keep your whole spine on the floor and alternating. Keep breathing. And pull your knees in towards your chest again. together like you're in a Baddha Konasana. And you want to start pulling the feet up towards your face, still with the knees out. And you're just feeling a deep stretch happening in the bum. Keep sucking the belly down towards the spine. And you keep pushing your legs out, but you don't want to straighten them until you go up and over. Keeping the legs, there's like a long diamond happening between your legs. And then you want to try and lower your bum towards the ground, but it mustn't go to the ground. You'll feel a very interesting stretch sensation happening in the legs. Keep the tummy working. Gently release the feet, unrolling yourself back onto the floor. You can place your feet on the floor as close to your bum as you can get. They're slightly open, so we don't have them right up next to each other. We're tucking our hips under, squeezing your bum, and you're just lifting your coccyx off the floor and then back down. You want to feel your feet pushing into the ground as you do this. Tuck, pushing the feet down into the earth, and release. Tuck, pushing your feet into the earth, and release. Tuck the hips under, just lifting the coccyx off the floor. You're squeezing your bum like crazy. Legs are pushing into the ground. Hold it. Squeeze the bum, let it burn. And gently release. Take your arms up towards the ceiling. Watch these shoulders. It's not that we want the shoulders on the floor. We want our arms being pulled long, these shoulders rotating into their sockets. Feeling our hips tucking under so the whole spine is again on the floor. And this is a very subtle movement. We're taking our hands so our palms are facing forward or in the direction of our knees, and we're just going to twist them all the way around so now they're facing up above our heads. And then you twist them back again. Rotate and back. Rotate and back. Make sure that these shoulders are lifted off the floor just slightly. Keep rotating. It's not a fast movement. It's not that we're wiggling backwards and forwards. It's an aware movement. Turning and back. Now we're going to open both arms, keeping them feeling like they're being pulled away from us. Sort of, call this maybe a 45-degree angle roundabout. Again, these shoulders aren't chilling on the floor. Hips are tucked under, arms being pulled long. And we do the exact same movement, turning and back. Turning and back. and we take them even close towards the floor. Not on the floor, we're keeping them maybe a foot off the floor. Arms are still feeling like they're being pulled long, hips are tucking under, belly is active, and we twist. Back up, tuck your knees in, and we roll up. So we're going to do some back rolls. So you're going to grab your shins. You're imagining that your legs are pushing into your hands a bit because it helps you give this rounded lower back, which helps you roll backwards and forwards. So you grab your hands onto the shins, tuck the belly, suck that belly back, and create a rounded lower back. And go over and come back up again. Roll over and back up again. Roll over and up. Roll and up. Roll and up. Roll and up. Roll. And get ready on the next roll. We're going to roll and stand up. So you roll, give yourself a bit more momentum, and come to standing. If you struggle with that, you just roll and then climb up and stand, however makes you comfy. And we're going to go through our vinyasa again. So hopefully you remember, but I'll be here to talk you through, and we're just going to move a little bit faster this time. So we group down, legs are turning slightly out, arms up to the ceiling as we inhale. Exhale and swan dive. Inhale, coming back up to a tabletop. Bend your knees, placing your hands on the floor, and send your right leg back into your lunge position. Push down in the hands and take your left leg back into plank. Then lift up into your downward facing dog. And we're going to take the right leg up towards the ceiling, bend it, turning the hips towards the right. Then bring that right foot through to the left and over into our wild things. Bring your hand back onto the floor, back into your downward facing dog. Take your right leg back up to the ceiling. Come over into your plank, chaturanga down. Before you get to the floor, lift up, and you can bring that foot back onto the floor into your upward facing dog. Lift up into your downward facing dog. We bring the left leg forward into our lunge position. Drop the right knee towards the floor. Drop the right foot towards the floor. Squeeze the right bum cheek to push your hip flexor open, pushing your hips towards the floor. Tuck your right toes under, lift into lunge, and bring your right leg to join your left in the front. Hang in your forward fold and lift up, pulling long, and then hands back into your prayer position. Let's breathe in, taking our hands back up towards the ceiling. Exhale, your swan dive down. Inhale, up into tabletop. Exhale, placing your hands on the floor, bending your knees, and take your left leg back into your lunge position. Push your hands into the floor, going into your plank position. Lift up into your downward facing dog, and your left leg gets pulled up towards the ceiling, bends at the knee, and pushes towards your left side. Your hips push towards your left side. Then the left leg comes through, under, and towards the right, up into our wild things. Come back over into your downward facing dog. Lift that left leg. Come over into your plank position. Drop down, chaturanga. Then lift up into your upward facing dog. And you can place that leg back down. Lift up into your downward facing dog. And right leg comes forward into our lunge. Drop the left knee towards the floor. Drop the left foot onto the floor. Squeeze your back bum cheek, pushing your hip flexor open, your hip down towards the floor. Tuck the back toe, lift into lunge, bring that left foot back to the right in the front, hang in your forward fold. And comes standing, lifting your arms up towards the ceiling and back into prayer position. Exactly where you are, drop your bum towards the floor. And you bring your feet into your Baddha Konasana position, as close to your Forksy bonnet as you can get, Forksy or your gentleman bonnet. Interlace your fingers around your toes, squeeze your knees and your bum down towards the floor. Pull your sternum towards your feet rather than your head. And start walking your bum cheeks further away. Just iteratively. Keep lifted in the belly. Once you've created a bigger diamond, again, tuck the hips, make sure you're squeezing the bum under and try and pull your sternum towards your feet again. Release and walk your bum further away. Once you've created a larger diamond, make sure you're squeezing your bum cheeks, tucking your hips under, and try and pull your sternum again towards your feet. Release and keep walking your bum until your legs are straight out in front of you. Now we're going to play a little bit with that rolling again. So we're lifting in the belly, tucking the hips under, we're lifting up and over that Bullamakisi in front of us, grabbing for our toes, our ankles or our calves. And then we're going to roll back, making sure you're tucking under, up, and take your legs over, sucking the belly back down, trying to drop the bum towards the floor. Then you allow yourself to come back, flatten your legs, grab your toes. I'm just going to move a little bit more forward. Grab your toes and lift, tuck the hips, roll over, grab your feet, straighten, trying to drop your bum towards the floor. Release, come up, slowly drop the feet towards the floor again, and grab your toes, your ankles, your calves, stretch it out, and again, tuck, 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 and over. Grabbing your feet, trying to drop your bum towards the floor. Back up. And roll again. Back up. And roll again. again this time. We're going to release the hands and we're going to roll up to standing. If you can't pull that off, you just roll up and then we stand. Back to the front of our mats to do our one last vinyasa before we start relaxation and peace and calm. Rooting down, hands up towards the ceiling as you breathe in. Exhale, coming down into your forward fold. In to tabletop, lifting in the belly. Place your hands on the floor and send your right leg back behind you. Push down the floor and take your left leg back into plank position, then up into your downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up into the sky, bends and turns towards the right. That right leg then comes under the left leg, coming through to the left, turning into our wild things. Make sure you're pushing your hips forward. Come back into your downward facing dog without slipping. And the right leg is still up. We come forward, getting ready for chaturanga, dropping down, keeping that right leg back. Lift up into your downward facing dog as the right leg comes down. Up into our downward facing dog. And our left leg comes forward, does it? No, I'm right. Left leg comes forward into our lunge position. Knee drops to the floor, foot drops to the floor. We squeeze the right bum cheek to push the hips forward, stretching that hip flexor. Lift back up into your lunge position and bring your right foot to join your left in the front and hang in your forward fold. Lift up in the body, extending your arms up towards the ceiling. Stretch long and bring your hands back into prayer position. Breathe in as we take our hands up towards the ceiling. Out as we swan dive down. In as we tabletop. Place your hands on the floor and send your left leg back into your lunge position. Push down in your hands, take the right leg back, and then lift up into your downward facing dog. Left leg goes up towards the ceiling, bends, and the hips open up towards the left. Then that left leg comes under the right leg towards the right, and we stretch out into our wild things. And come back up into our downward facing dog. Left leg goes up into the sky. We come over into our plank position. Chaturanga down. Then we drop the left leg as we come up into our upward facing dog. Up into your downward facing dog. Right leg comes forward into your lunge position. Left knee drops down. Left foot drops down. We're squeezing our bum to open up the hip flexor, pushing the hips towards the floor. Tuck the toes, lift up into your lunge, and bring that left foot forward and hang in your forward fold. Up we go, taking our hands up towards the ceiling. And bring them back into your prayer position. And again, you can allow yourself to drop your bum onto the floor, and it's up to you whether you would like to sit or lie down for your meditation. And if you want to grab a blankie or pillows or anything, now is the time. Today's style of meditation is going along with that idea of balance, and we're doing what's called a Vipassana. So Vipassana is pulling your awareness from the outside world into your inside world, and then allowing your mind to actually go through all its thoughts. But it's sort of, you're there to witness your thoughts as opposed to feed them. So let's say a thought comes up, oh, Tammy was mean to me today, she said that thing, and that's your first thought. Then if you were to feed that thought, you'd be like, yeah, she's so rude, I can't believe she said that, blah blah blah, nya, nya, nya. You're adding drama, you're adding fuel to, let's pretend there's a fire, and you're like, nya, 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 building up the anger. That's adding energy to that thought. Now if you were to just witness that thought, oh, Tammy was mean to me today, yeah, okay, and it would float off, and then you would allow the next thought to come in. The aim is to allow the thoughts, but not to feed them energy so that they can grow bigger. You're just acknowledging them. Okay, there's that thought. So that's what we're working on today. So you can get comfy, close your eyes. We're going to start off just breathing, bringing our awareness into the body. As you breathe, pay attention to what's happening in your body. Do you notice that with each breath, your body is starting to relax into the mat? Are you aware of how your body moves? The chest expanding, the belly expanding, the warmth of your breath. You know, when we breathe in, the air tends to be slightly cooler. When we breathe out, it's warmed from being in our lungs. Anything, just pay attention to your physical body as you breathe. Allow yourself to go into a little bit of Ujjayi breathing, so you close off your throat slightly, just to create a little bit of restriction so that you can hear the breath coming in and out. Again, helping you bring your awareness to your breathing. And now we're going to start paying attention to the thoughts that may be running through your head. Allow a thought to come up, and you just acknowledge it, be aware of it, but don't feed it. And then allow it to move on, and allow the next thought to come into your mind. Again, you can do it at your own pace. You're playing the witness. As long as you're not feeding your thoughts, you can think about that thought and send it on its way, slowly or quickly. You're paying attention to learning how to control your mind. And allow these things to come up and and then send them on. Let the next thing come up and then send it on. Remember to allow the thoughts to come up and send them on. Try not to feed them. Allow your next thought to come up and send it on its way. And the next thought, just witness it and send it on its way. find the more you're allowing these thoughts to just be, the less cluttered your mind feels. And you might even just drop into a place of peacefulness where thoughts aren't coming up. You just allow this. Allow your breathing to continue. Allow the relaxation in your body. And if thoughts are still coming up, allow that as well. Just witness the thoughts and send them on their way. Now start bringing your awareness back to just your breath. Pay attention to your body as it moves while you breathe. Expansion of your chest, deflation of the chest, the feeling of the air moving in and out of your nostrils, up and down your throat. Deep breath in and exhale through your mouth. Deep breath in, exhale through your mouth. And last deep breath in, and as you exhale, start wiggling your fingers. Wiggling your toes. Give your body one last long stretch. And when you're ready, come back up to your seated position and we'll do one closing Om. Hands can be on your knees or in your heart center. And we take a deep breath in. Thank you, everybody.